As we make Chelsea buns, we're going to be practicing our bread making skills, our understanding of gluten formation and biological aeration. But first, as always, we need to wash our hands. And then we can get started by preheating the oven.
The front of the oven has 3 switches.
One switch turns on either the grill or the oven or defrost or just the light. So we're going to put it to the fan setting, which means the oven's on. Middle one's the timer, which we'll set later. And this one is for the temperature, so we're going to turn that on to 200. First we're going to weigh out our 150 grams of flour. $153, that'll do. And in there we're going to put our pinch of salt, our teaspoon of sugar, and our packet of yeast. Along with that we've got 30 millilitres or 2 tablespoons of oil. Bring that together so it's nicely dispersed throughout, and then we're going to slowly add our warm water until we can bring that into the dough. Now it's important it's warm water because that will help the yeast ferment. It needs food in the form of its sugar. That's why we've had the sugar in there. It needs the warmth. So about 30 degrees would be perfect. So it's warm to the touch, the water. So once we've got this nice dough, we can flour our surface. And we can start kneading our dough. And what we're doing is just stretching it. We're really putting some effort into disturbing that ball of dough. And what you'll find is as you do this, your dough will change the way it feels. It'll become more stretchy. So we do that then for about 5 minutes. So as we do this, the 2 proteins, gliadin and glutenin in the wheat flour, start to denature and with a little bit of help from water form a new protein called gluten. And that gluten is what gives us our elastic, our stretchy nature for bread. So the more we knead, the more gluten formation there is. So once you finish kneading, it should have that nice sort of stretchy, elastic feel to it. We can put it in our bowl. We're then going to cover for 10 minutes and let that prove. So because it's a biological raising agent, as well as warmth and the sugar to feed on, that yeast needs time to ferment and give off that carbon dioxide. So for our filling, we want 2 tablespoons of the soft brown sugar, then half a teaspoon of cinnamon, and then give that a mix so we have our cinnamon and sugar. So after 10 minutes, we're going to take our approved dough out of our, as well as rising slightly, that will also, as it's risen, stretch some of the gluten and activated that gluten a bit more. So we should have a much more elastic dough now. And we're going to knock it back and just get rid of some of that air. We're also going to bring it out in more or less the same size as our tray. We don't want to go bigger than our tray at the moment. That's about what we want. As a guide, so it's just under 1 centimetre thick. Just lightly brush the inside with a bit of oil. And then we can add our filling in, so it's nice and evenly dispersed. And then the same with about 40 grams of the dried fruit. Again, nice and evenly dispersed. And then rolling it up like a Swiss roll. And then finally, we're going to see, I'm placing those I'm going to brush that with a bit of oil again. And just sprinkle with a small amount of caster sugar. There's the glaze. You then want to cover those up for a little bit and let it prove for as long as you can. But they need to go in the oven 1/4 of an hour before the end of your lesson. So 15 minutes before the end, take off the cling film and place them in your preheated oven. And set your timer for 15 minutes. Once the timer's gone, check that your buns are golden brown. If they are, with oven gloves, remove them from the oven. Remember to turn the oven off when you finish with it, including the spurs.